Much, sir. Jamil Jaffer joins me now. He is the founder of the National Security Institute at George Mason University and, importantly for this conversation, served as associate counsel to President George W. Bush. It's great to have you here. Thanks so much. There is a conversation going on in some corridors of Washington that invoke the terminology war crimes. I want to play for you soundbite from Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine on that very point. Let's please listen.
If that reporting is true, it's a clear violation of the DOD's own laws of war, as well as international laws about the way you treat people who are in that circumstance. And so this rises to the level of a war crime if it's true. And the questions that we've been asking for months are, give us the evidence that the folks on board were really narco traffickers.
Senator Kaine from Face the Nation. Is he correct?
Well, look, this is a difficult question. Under the laws of war, we follow the Geneva Conventions, right? There's an additional protocol to the Geneva Conventions that deals with people who are sort of out of the fight, who are out of combat, or to combat. They've been injured, they're sick, they're wounded, they're shipwrecked, they're out of the fight. That says you're not allowed to attack those people, additional protocol 1. We haven't ratified that. Now, a lot of people believe that parts of our additional protocol 1, including that particular article, represent a statement of the actual law of war as accepted by all nations. And in fact, the DOD law of war manual suggests that the or to combat definition of their additional protocol 1 applies to our soldiers as a general matter. So at least according to the DOD law of war manual, you can't go after somebody who's not in the fight. Now, these guys were hanging on to the boat. Were they in the fight? Were they not in the fight? That's a difficult question. Seems, though, under the circumstances, if we have the facts right, we really know what the facts are. If we have the facts right, probably not the right thing to do.
Jamil, I also said in my opening, this was a 9/11 style war on drugs, fundamentally different than previous administrations. You are very well versed in the authorization of military force that created a sort of umbrella designation that created a lot of legal authorities that many administrations used in that war on terror. There is no authorization for military force for this particular drug interdiction effort, is there?
That's right. There is no authorization.
That's an important fact, right?
No, that's exactly right. And even though the president has designated a variety of cartels, including Nicolas Maduro, terrorist groups, foreign terrorist organizations on one hand, and especially designated global terrorists on the other, that doesn't give him the authority under the AUMF, because that one was bounded by the people who were involved in, planned, or harbored the people involved with 9/11. Now, prior administrations have taken a broad view.
There are a lot of elasticity to that definition.
It doesn't go this far.
It doesn't go this far. And does that bring this to a level where it's very core legality? Not just this September 2nd, which was, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the very first strike carried out, but all of these strikes, are they on somewhat tenuous legal ground?
Well, actually, I think the president has a pretty good argument here, right?
He does.
Is that I think he does. His argument is he's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He has the executive power. He has some amount of authority to deal with immediate threats to the country. And he says, look, these drugs, fentanyl, other drugs, cocaine, have killed tens of thousands of Americans. They're dying in America today. We need to cut the drug trade off. I'm going to prosecute this not as a law enforcement matter, as we have for the better part of a few decades. I'm going to treat it like a national security matter. I'm going to use my commander-in-chief authority. Now, Congress could constrain him. They could say, look, you've got the War Powers Resolution. We want to authorize it, right? Congress isn't doing that. They're letting him go along with it. Now, would he be on stronger footing if he had a statute? Of course. Does he have some amount of authority? Sure. The question is, who's going to challenge him? Who's going to stop him? And
you know as well as I do, if he went to Congress and said, I would like a designation for this war on terror, the politics would probably favor him.
It's hard to know.
In a drug context like this.
It's true. It's hard to know for sure, but there's no doubt he'd have a strong argument. And his point is, look, just go ahead and stop me. You don't want me to do it? You've got plenty of tools. You can cut off the funding, do what you want. You can stop me. They haven't done that.
Subject policy experts, always a pleasure to have you, Jamil Jaffer.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Earlier,